Hi everyone, it's Ayosia here. I have 3 Christmas junk journals to show you. I've been working really hard on them and I'm glad to finally have them done. They're very similar, just really small variations here and there. So yeah, I'll just go through one in detail and it will give you an idea because all the inserts are the same, all the journaling cards are the same, everything is the same on the inside. They just might be in different places. So yeah, they all have this plum coloured cover. It's fabric cover with fabric covered card cover. Oh god, that's a lot of words. I'm filming this really late at night, so I know my brain's not going to be working properly. They have between 80 to 84 pages front and back, 2 signatures, a hidden spine. What else can I tell you? They all have a pocket on the front and they have the same insert in the pocket. So I'm just going to go through one of the journals in detail and then I might just really quick flip through quickly the other 2. So I'll start with the one in the middle. I may as well. Let me check that we're in frame. Okay, so each journal measures about 9.5 inches that way and about 6.5 or 6 3/4, that sort of size. I've mentioned the number of pages, haven't I? Okay, so let's get started. So this one has got a pocket. It's got various fabrics, some sweater fabric. There's velvet under here. There's this ruffle ribbon, a couple of ribbon. And then I've attached this little Christmas ornament, but it's removable. It's just attached on with the peg, with this peg, which has got a Christmas tree on it. So yeah, you can take that off, or it's up to you, or leave it on. And then in the pocket, there probably will be a glare because of the lights that I'm using, so apologies for that. It's like a shaker tag. There's a little Santa under there, and it says "Chill out, it's Christmas." And this image is from one of mine, actually, from last year. I painted that for my December daily dates. So that's a wreath that I painted and then scanned in and printed out. So I've used that quite a lot. And this actually was pretty much the design of my Christmas cards last year. So there's a sticker in the middle of that. It says "Chill out, it's Christmas." So every time you come to your journal, it'd be a nice chilled out, relaxing time in the mayhem of Christmas. And sorry, another glary thing with the acetate, another shaker tag with this circle. You can write on the backs of both of those tags, and of course you can take out and then put in the pocket anything else, anything you prefer to have as an image on the front. So the journal has a lace closure, and then on the inside is this gold fabric, again sewed onto some card, and there's a pocket here with this sweater fabric, and then this is, I think this is called eyelash trim, little circle there, and a border there with some stars and leaves. And in the pocket I've put 5 envelopes because some of this journal, this journal has got some of my watercolor prints in them, so you can, I've put 5 matching envelopes in there. I've forgotten to count how many prints you get with this journal, but we'll figure it out as we go along. There's a wooden Christmas tree. You can write on these. These are actually supposed to be gift tags, but you can write your name on it maybe and attach it to the front of the journal, or however you want to use it. So I've put that in there. So on the front is this lovely paper and a tag with a deer on it, so that's a little tuck spot in there. And then this is one of my nature watercolors, which I've blingified for Christmas. So I put a bit of shimmer ink on there and some stars, an Edith Holden book page, and then here, so the journal has got all of these inserts. There's an envelope with an image which I let me see, I collected a whole load of old images, English images, either from stuff I'd been given or Yeah, so this image is from a car. It's from 1683. Not the actual. The image is from. It's an illustration from the 17th century. So I scanned that in and printed it out on an envelope, and then in the envelope you also have the same image in there. And then lace trim on there. Pom-pom trim. This is a tag which I made from an Edith Holden book page. You can write on the back. I really love this image. And in here you got there's a couple of layers of this lace fabric and one of my watercolors which I added some bling to. So there's some stars and then a shimmery border. And so there's a tuck spot in there and a tuck spot there. And then these tuck spots are actually floating. You can put them wherever you want with various layers of Christmas papers. I love these papers. And you can write on the back, and also there's a tag in there you can write on. The very jolly looking Rudolph there. And then these again were the, old Christmas images. That says Jovial Christmas. I scanned them in and made them into journaling cards. And this is like from an old book of fancy dress, you know, like dressing up for a Christmas party sort of thing. And there's a tuck spot here. I love this trim. This is a vintage trim with some red velvet and a bit of a napkin and some lace fabric. And there's a couple of images here which I printed these out onto watercolor paper. And again, it's just going along the theme of dressing up or going to the theatre at Christmas time. So that's a Robin Hood and a clown. And these images are dated. Let me see if I can find it quickly. Oh, I had all the stuff prepped so I could make an interesting flip through, but now of course I can't find it. Yeah. Oh, here we are. These images are taken from a book from the late 1800s. So yeah, a couple of these. And then these are really interesting. They're negatives that were my friend has got a suitcase full of vintage crafting stuff that belonged to her grandmother. I've mentioned this before. And she gave me, you know, when I see her, she knows that I make these journals. So she very generously gives me stuff that belonged to her grandmother. It's super old. And they're these negatives of Christmas images, some Christmas baubles and a statue of Mary and Joseph, statues of Mary and Joseph. So I've put them into the thing that I was trying to figure out how to use them. You probably can't see it very well in this light, but if you hold this, I've made it so you can flip it out and hold it up to the light. It's a really lovely images to look at. So I've sewn that into the journal there. This is one of my freebie ink drawing printables that I mentioned in my last couple of videos. So if you're looking for an idea of how to use that for Christmas, here's one. I just added some bling and sparkly papers and then put a this is gosh, you know, I shouldn't film videos late at night because my brain has completely switched off. It's an ink, it's an acrylic ink, but it's a shimmery ink, and it's called Twinkle. I love the name of that ink. It's called Twinkle, and so I used that. Yeah, so that's on watercolor paper as well. So all the journals have one of these too. Okay, and this is one of mine, just watercolor image of some holly and berries and ivy, which I scanned in and printed out onto some ivory card and inked the edges. That's a new one. I painted that last week. Middle of the first signature. Here's another one of a reindeer, another one of mine. Yeah, it's a reindeer. I like it. I like how it turned out. And these are these birdie tags, which I sewed on a couple of layers of sparkly paper for a wing. And here is some ribbon with a nutcracker theme. So that is made a teeny pocket. And these nutcrackers look so grumpy, these nutcracker soldiers. But they came with, well, they match the ribbon, so I put them in, and you can write on the back. But I put a very jolly Santa to counteract the grumpiness of that soldier. So the jolly Santa's in there. And then there's a London bus tag. You can write on the backs of all of these. And then this is another of those floating tag and tuck spots, so you can write on the back. And then this is this is wallpaper, and it's got like a velvety element on it. And then another shaker tag with a London scene. You can write on the back. And a sparkly tag in there. That opens out. These are a couple of scans of vintage postcards, again, that came from my friend's grandmother. So I scanned them in and made them into journaling cards. There's a tuck spot here with, again, guess where I got this? My friend's grandmother, well, my friend gave me these. They belong to her grandma. They're these really old cutout things. And I haven't got very many of these ones left. But anyway, each journal features a couple of them, which I attached onto a tuck spot of some very cute children at Christmas time. And then there's a tag in here. This is from Graphics 45. This is one of mine, of a winter bird, a blue jay, pom-pom trim. Another of mine. And that's the end of the first signature, the other side of the book page. And then these images I scanned in from a book called, I hope you don't mind me going into all this detail, I just thought it might be interesting, Society Pictures. Now these are illustrations that from the late 1800s again, and they show, some of them are quite funny, and I kind of had a look through to see what would be relevant for Christmas time. And it just shows like different scenarios where these posh society characters are, they're like cartoons, I suppose. They're like 19th century cartoons. But it's a really funny book. I can't remember where I got it. I got it from a sale somewhere. Anyway, I scanned in a few of the images and made them into journaling cards. So this one says, this girl, it's called A Pathetic Appeal, and she's asking her mum, she says, "Mama, should you let me go to the Wilkinsons' ball if they give one this winter?" "No, darling," her mum says, and so on. If you get the journal, you can read it. But yeah, you can write on the backs. So it seemed humorous to me at the time, but it doesn't seem very funny now, does it? But it was supposed to be. That's a pom-pom trim. And again, another vintage, I won't go into any more detail, another vintage thing that I had, which I scanned in. And these are vintage images of, I think that's St. Nicholas, actually. And then these are two theatre arts prints, just talking about I put them in because they go along with the theme of theatre at Christmas time. So that's an Elizabethan theatre, and this one is a Dutch theatre from the 16th century. And that's an illustration from the 19th century, obviously a scan of that. And these are characters in a theatre show, Jack and the Beanstalk. You know, at Christmas time we have pantomime. I don't know, maybe pantomime. Going to the pantomime is a very English thing. I'm not sure, actually. But it's like a big thing at Christmas. Everyone goes to panto. And so these are like vintage pantomime characters. And again here, there, and I made that into a journey card with a velvet trim. And here are some more of those society cartoons. This one says different effects of shyness, so they're having like a Christmas dinner type thing, and it's just showing, I think he's very shy. Anyway, yeah, I don't know, it doesn't seem so funny to me now, but it was when I was looking at the book. Things one would rather have left unsaid. So it goes into, but I don't know why I printed them out so small, you can barely read the writing. And then that's another image. They're kind of like sitting at it looks like a Christmas dinner table. Anyway, they're just interesting journaling cards, if nothing else. And then there's this lovely paper. Another of the floating tags with a sparkly tag there. I'll touch it afterwards. Oh, let's come off the other side. And then this is another, this is like a fairy of the theatre in a Christmas show. Vintage image there. Edith Holden book page. A robin, one of mine. One of my watercolours. Nice paper. With a brown paper back. Again, this is one of those vintage cutout things that I got from my friend, who had a grandmother that kept all this stuff. It's really precious, actually. I always feel a little tug on my heart when I give away these things, because you know, when someone's left something, it's a finite thing, isn't it? So, and it's precious. But anyway, these journals are special. So it has one of these cherub things which I made into tuck spot, and then these are some postcards that I scanned in, made into journaling cards. Again, vintage Christmas postcards. Another of Christmas, a character in the show. Scanning of a vintage Christmas postcard. This is from an old colouring book, Christmas colouring book. So I put that in. That's the middle of the second signature. That opens out. It's one of my watercolours prints of a birdie. That opens out. And this is a flip-up tip-in that I made by sewing a couple of layers of tissue paper with stars on, and then this sheer gold fabric, and then the ribbon and a bit of a doily. And so that flips up there, so you can kind of see the stars through the fabric. So I like that effect. One of mine is snow bunting, which I thought was apt for winter and Christmas. And I like the back of this paper because it's got this lovely blue background there. The other side of that lovely paper, one of the tags with the pretty paper wing. And the last page with a pom-pom trim. I hope that wasn't too rambly. So that's the first one. Imagine if I went through the other two in that much detail. But obviously I won't, because they're almost pretty identical to this one. So I'm just going to flip through them really quickly. So that's that one. So that's that one with the snowman with a hat and holding a tree. I don't know what that is, actually. And then, so there's this one with a character there. And there's a tag with a deer on it, which is removable. And this pocket has got, it's very similar to the last one, except it has this fabric there with a little bead, a ruffle, same tags. This one's grey, and the same shimmery, the same shaker tag. Lace closure like the last one. I'm just going to flip through. You see it's really the same. Yep, same. This one I made a little, just little note place, because I didn't want to make that into a card. I didn't want to cover up the back of that, so I just made it into a little, very mini notebook. It's the same. Another floating tag. This one's different with a jolly reindeer and a jolly Santa in there. These two are the same. Yep. Yep. And another of those, these are different negatives. Bird. Grumpy Nutcracker Soldier, London Boss, and a jolly Santa. Another floating tag. This has got mini replica Christmas postcards in there. And then there's a tag that comes out, you can write on the back. Those two postcards, opens out. Shaker tag with a London scene. That's the same. Yep. Same. Funny, not so funny journaling cards. Yep. A floating tag. Yep, same little cherub. Oh, that's a nice image. Just colour in if you want to. Birdie. And that's that one. With the character. I have no idea what that is. It just looks, it's a Christmas ornament, but obviously it's a person, but I don't know if it's a soldier or what it is. Anyway, that's that one. Okay. And then finally this one, which has got a wooden candy cane with a peg with a Christmas stocking. Same two inserts in the middle, and that's that pocket. I do hope this video isn't too long. That's all the same. Oh, I put the other reindeer here, but the other one, the blingified deer, is somewhere else in the journal, so that's in there. Same Edith Holden book page. That's the same. And this one's got a jolly snowman, a floating tuck spot. Same. Oh, here we are. Here's a blingified deer. Birdie. And guess what? Grumpy Nutcracker Soldier, Jolly Santa, and a London bus. And I've put a couple of these negatives in there. Another floating tuck spot. And a couple of characters. They are so cute, these ones. There's a little lace trim I forgot to mention on each tuck spot there as well. That's from Graphics 45. One of mine. Book page. The funny, not so funny characters, cartoons. Pom-pom trim. I like this paper. I love this paper. Edith Holden book page. Robin. One of mine. Another floating tuck spot with various things. The vintage postcard images there. The three, yeah, some more vintage postcard journaling cards. Another of those cherubs. The vintage cherubs with the lace trim. There. Colouring book page. page, one of mine. And that, and the pom-pom. So there you have it. Oh, and this bit is this one that is at the back. Yeah, so thank you for watching. I apologise for my rambliness on this video. I shall have these listed in my Etsy shop by the time this video is up. So if you're interested, do pop over and have a look. But in any event, thank you for watching, and until next time, sending you lots and lots of love. Bye-bye. Bye.